If you're like me and absolutely hate spending hours scrolling through LinkedIn job posts that don't even match your skills, this automation completely eliminates that nightmare. I went from 4 hours of daily job hunting hell to just 15 minutes of weekly review. What you're looking at is a complete LinkedIn job application system built in N8N. It scrapes job posts, evaluates fit, generates custom cover letters and resumes, and then stores everything in Airtable. But here's what most tutorials won't tell you. The difference between a system that gets you interviews and one that gets you ignored comes down to how you structure your AI prompts and filter logic. So by the end of this build, you'll have the exact workflow that's currently processing multiple jobs per week. If you're new here, my name is Shab, and I run the AI Automation Incubator, a school community for business owners and professionals that want to level up in AI. We do weekly calls, and every month the community comes together, chooses an automation, and we build it together live. If you're interested in joining, there's a 7-day free trial, and there's a link to that in the description. Let me execute the workflow. So it runs an Apify scraper, then goes into a wait node to wait for the scraper to complete. We check the status and fast forward to when it's done. We get the dataset items from that scraper, and then we run it through two filters, and that goes into an AI node that generates a fit score. Any job posts that are a good fit are then sent to another AI node, which will generate a customized cover letter and a customized resume, save all of the details to Airtable, and the cycle repeats itself. By the end of the execution, your Airtable will be populated with new job opportunities complete with resumes and cover letters. So let's go ahead and see how you can build this for yourself. And the real magic is in how the prompts are working to find you the best jobs possible. The workflow starts with a schedule trigger. I've scheduled this to run every 4 days. Next, we're going to run an actor using the Apify node. Apify is a service that lets you scrape data from the internet for a very reasonable cost. The scraper we're using is called the LinkedIn Job Scraper, no cookies. It's very reasonable at $5 for every 1,000 jobs that it scrapes. So back in N8N, I've grabbed the ID and placed it in. Make sure you have your credentials set up. And for the input JSON, we have the sort as recent. I've set keywords as AI automation for this example, but you can change that to whatever industry you're in. And for the location, I have United States. And again, you can change that to whatever works for you. Next, we have a wait node, which is just the workflow taking a break for 5 seconds. And after 5 seconds, we check the status of that run using the run ID. If the status comes back as succeeded, we move on. Otherwise, it loops back into the wait node, waits another 5 seconds, and checks again. Once the run has succeeded, we use another Apify node called get dataset items. Here, we pass in the default dataset ID variable. So this dataset contains 100 items, but obviously not all of them are going to be a good fit. So next up, we are going to run a few different filters. The first filter that I've set up is that I'm only looking for remote jobs or hybrid jobs. You can choose to keep this filter or remove it if it's not relevant for you. Since I'm looking to find jobs that I can also potentially freelance for, I've chosen remote and hybrid. Next, I have another filter where I want to make sure that the job title contains the words AI, LLM, ChatGPT, and similar in it. Because the job scraper is not always very accurate, and it might find you jobs only loosely related to AI. So that second filter makes sure that we are getting even more relevant results. Once that filtering is done, this is where the real magic starts. And that is in this loop. Now we want to use a loop because the filter will output multiple objects. And we want to go through each object individually because we're going to analyze it. And if it's a good fit, we're going to create the cover letter and the resume. So the secret sauce is in this OpenAI messenger model node. So let's examine the prompt. So I'm not going to read the whole prompt, but let me explain what it does. In the prompt, I have provided the model with my skills, and I've outlined a 4-step process for the model to analyze the job post against my skills. Based on that, it's going to output two things: a fit score on a scale of 0 to 100, how good of a fit my skills are for this job, and a complexity rating for the job. How hard or how complex is this project really? It's also going to output any upskilling requirements, as well as the reasoning the model used for giving these scores. At the very bottom, there's a JSON format for the output because we need to process that data. And below that, I've provided the job description, the company, and the job title as well. So here's a sample output where the AI model has generated a fit score. It's given it a complexity rating. It's also provided areas of upskilling that may be required and the reasoning the model used for giving these scores. Now, bear in mind that since we're in a loop, this is just one out of the many iterations. This data goes into an if node, which filters based on a fit score threshold and a complexity threshold. Now, I've set it to my numbers. You can change this to match whatever fit score and whatever difficulty threshold you're willing to tolerate. This is really important. You don't want to end up applying for senior jobs if you're still mid-level, or for very complex projects when you're looking for something a little easier. So these filters will really help you dial in the exact kind of jobs that you're looking to apply for. Any jobs that pass those filters will then go into the next part and final part of this automation, which is to generate the cover letter and to generate a customized section for your resume. And we do that using another LLM chain. We have a brain for that LLM chain, which is GPT 4.1, and a structured output parser because we only want two variables in the output, the cover letter and the professional summary for our resume. So let's look under the hood and you'll see the prompt. This time, we're asking the AI model to be an expert recruitment consultant and to have a keen understanding of what HR managers actually look for in candidates. We're providing the job title, the job description, the company information. We're reiterating what our skills are. And I'm also providing it what my resume's current professional summary is, because it's going to build on top of that and adapt it to the job post. Now, this part is really critical because when you apply for jobs, nowadays, most companies use an automated filtering software that filters resumes according to what their perceived best fit is. So the more keywords and the more relevance that you can provide in your resume to that particular job, the better chance you have of being shortlisted. And that is why this automation is so powerful. So now you have your cover letter and your professional summary. Next up is an HTML node with a sample resume for this demonstration. Most of the things in the resume are constant, your skills, education, certifications. The only thing that's going to change is the professional summary. Your experience, everything else, that's all going to be the same and it's all hard coded. So if we dive into the code and scroll down to the professional summary section, you'll see that we've replaced only one variable in the entire HTML, and that is that professional summary, which will be different for every job post. Next up, I'm using a community node called Media Effects to convert that HTML from the previous node into a PDF. If you don't have Media Effects installed, you can go to your settings, go to community nodes, and search for Media Effects and install it. Now that the PDF is generated, we're going to save all of that data to Airtable. But you might be wondering what that extra node is before the Airtable node. And that is the extract from file node. And we have to do this because of a limitation of Airtable, where we can't attach files directly using the Airtable node. So what we need to do is convert this PDF into base 64 string. And a base 64 string is basically any file translated into text characters and encoded with base 64. So this is our sample PDF encoded as base 64. Next up, we go into Airtable and we create a record in the table that I showed you earlier. Here it is. And I have all of these fields here, which I've mapped to different variables from the workflow. So we have the company name, the job title, the company LinkedIn, the job post link, the job description, when the job was posted, a fit score, which the AI has come up with, the complexity, which the AI has decided, an explanation, the requirements of the job, the application URL, and finally the cover letter that the AI came up with for us. Once this record is created, we'll have to do another API call to Airtable to attach that file. And that's through this HTTP request. So we want to make a post request to this URL. Now that first string of characters is the base ID, which you can get from your Airtable URL. The variable is the record ID, and that's that record that we just created. Next up, we have the name of the column, which you can find in Airtable, which is customized resume. And finally, the endpoint is upload attachment. Since we already have Airtable credentials set up for the Airtable node, we can just reuse those credentials over here. And we also need to send a JSON body. Now, the contents of that body is content type. In this case, it'll be application/PDF, which is what kind of encoding is in the base64. We have the actual base64 file. And finally, we have the file name as well, resume custom.pdf. So this uploads the PDF to Airtable, and the workflow goes back into the loop and starts working on the next job post. It'll evaluate the fit score again, and if it is a good fit, it'll make another set of cover letters and resumes and keep repeating the process until all potential jobs are processed and ready for you to evaluate and apply to. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I really appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Do remember to subscribe to the channel for more AI and automation content.